Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast Postgame Show. Hawks lose 6-4 to the Dallas Stars. Their seventh straight loss. We're going to get all to it. Mario Tirabassi and Jay Zawaski here in our CHGO West Loop studios. Greg Boysen will join us from the United Center momentarily. We, as always, are presented by PointsBet. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership. That unlocks all of our great web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker, like my CHGO Bull shirt right here. Looks good on camera, I have to say. Red is my color. It matches my sunburned skin. Just gross. That's so use that promo code CHGO. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. So yeah, here we are. 7 straight losses.
Yeah.
Hawks are playing out the string here. Moral victory? They weren't terrible for the entire game.
Yeah. They technically scored 4 goals, but only 2 of them came from the Blackhawks.
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't know. I mean, it was a game that, they looked a little bit more like the active team, but it was just, Kevin Lankinen, some of the goals you can't hang fully on him, but some of them tonight were just like, man, you got it. Like, just losing his net again. Yeah. Like, it's just something that, we were talking about it during the game. I'm just questioning, like, Lankinen, Delia, Soderblom, maybe they just scrap it.
Yeah.
Scrap it and just go into next season completely fresh. I mean, they'll still keep Soderblom around. I mean, he's been doing pretty well in Rockford, and he's, young. But maybe it's, Lankinen, Delia, scrap them and just see what you got next season.
Yeah, what we're learning is that neither Kevin Lankinen or Colin Delia, and Delia came in a tough situation,
right,
and was welcomed to the game with his
chaos.
First shift losing his stick and complete chaos. But Delia's wants elsewhere, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And Lankinen he's not an NHL goalie. He's just not. And he played better last year, but he's had his opportunity to prove his point and to make his case for Kyle Davidson and Derek King and all the Hawks brass, and he's failed. He's flat out failed. And look, like you said, you can't pin the loss on Kevin Lankinen, but now and again, you've lost 6 in a row, you've got off to a good start, make a big save once, right? While you can't blame him, at some point you want your goalie to do the splits and make a kick save he's got no business making.
Yeah.
Or it just doesn't happen often enough with Lankinen. And there's too many nights where I'm looking at him like there's just too many flaws in his game. He'll never control the rebounds. He loses his net and the puck multiple times a game. It's just not an option. They've got it. One of the many things this team needs to solve right now is the franchise goalie going forward, because it sure as hell is not on the roster right now. Whether or not it's Arvid Soderblom, we'll find out. I'm blanking. Jackson Stauber.
Yeah.
It was just brought into Rockford, so we'll see what he has to bring. But
Jackson with the
Drew Comesso right now is kind of the only hope the organization has, and that's years away yet.
Yeah, he's probably the best goaltending prospect they've had since Corey Crawford, but it's going to be at least another season before he entertains the idea of turning pro. He's going to go back to college and play another year at Boston University, which is the right thing to do. So I don't know what the answer is at goaltender. It's not Kevin Lankinen.
It's not here.
The thing is with Lankinen, he kind of had a breakout season last year and stole the starting job from Colin Delia and Malcolm Subban when it was up for grabs. But then this season, he didn't have the consistent playing time behind Marc-Andre Fleury, and his shortcomings were, we were aware of them in his playing time, but Marc-Andre Fleury played so often that you never really thought about, Lankinen's issues that he was having this season. And then now it's his net, quote unquote, his net to lose,
and he's losing it,
and he's losing it constantly.
Yeah.
What you don't want, I understand the Blackhawks are going to be rebuilding. They're not, wins and losses don't technically matter right now. But what you don't want to see is a game where your goaltender is just constantly having an adventure. Like that's not good. That's not going to give the players in front of him any confidence if they know that they're giving up, not even just grade A quality chances against, but like grade B, grade C. If he's shaky and those not high quality chances are still getting through, that puts a lot of pressure on the guys ahead of them, because now they know we can't give up we can't make any mistakes because we don't really have confidence in the guys stopping the puck.
And when you play that way, you make mistakes. When I used to do my Bud Light on the Glass events with Blackhawks players, I would always ask them about the goaltending. And this is back when we're talking about Crawford and Darling and Crawford and Ranta and Crawford and Emery. And just they would always say, no matter what season it was, it's great to know that every night we've got a goalie behind us that we know we can trust, we can know is going to make the routine save. So when we take a chance, we're not thinking in the back of our heads, oh God, if this doesn't go right, we're screwed. And if you're a player that's hesitating to make those quick decisions offensively, you're Seth Jones, you're Jake McCabe, you're Alex Vlasic, whoever, and you see an opportunity to pinch and make an offensive move, but that slight hesitation of Lankinen's back there and he's struggling, that hesitation will cost you scoring chances, and it also gets you second guessing in your game, which is never a good thing to do. The second guessing is what a lot of players talked about with Colliton in terms of the system. Was, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Well, no, now it's too late.
Yeah.
You got to use your instincts, and when you don't trust the goalie behind you, your instincts start to change, and you worry about playing safe, protecting things, and it's just not a great way to go about things. So I think there's somebody upstairs for the first time. We have some creaking above us, or it's haunted and everybody should run.
What was that?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Right.
I think we're good.
I have never heard footsteps above me in this office yet.
There is a floor
so that was
above
interesting.
us. Yeah.
That was interesting. All right. Anyways, we're fine.
Clark, if anything happens,
the roof is not collapsing in on us.
Kevin's watching there. Maybe we can ask him if
Kevin,
he knows anything.
Here and protect us. Get the official CHGO shotgun and protect the show at all costs.
Anyways,
there was some good to this game, mostly in a broadcast booth with Pat Foley and Dale Talon reuniting for Pat Foley's last year. And I think it took Dale a little while to start to get in the rhythm of calling a game again. But once he did, he was excellent. I forgot how good he was talking about, he did a great video breakdown of the little things Seth Jones does well. Breaking up passes, blocking shots, getting his foot, getting his stick in the way, not letting plays happen, cutting off angles. 2 minutes before that, he was critical of Jones right before the second Robertson goal for not finishing his check in the corner, for kind of being soft on a check.
Yeah.
That's what I love about a broadcaster. Someone that can say, this was not great. This moment for Seth Jones was bad, but look at all this great stuff he's doing too. That's what a broadcaster should be. And I think Eddie is really good at that, but the chemistry that Pat and Dale have to get back together after what?
They said the last time that they had done it was 2004.
Yeah,
I think.
so
or no, yeah, the end of the 2003
so 18 years.
Season. Yeah, it's a long time.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Long time. But yeah,
I wish I hadn't done that math.
It was it was enjoyable to see them to see and hear them back together. Pat Foley just seemed like he was, screw it, I got 2 broadcasts left. I'm just going to say whatever I want. He was throwing out the old analogies. What was the one? Talking about the goaltender, see more rubber than a dead cat on the interstate.
Yes, and there was a prom one that I missed, but our guy John Dietz grabbed it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a scrum along the boards, more clutching than at a high school prom.
So, yeah, it was...
Fittingly enough, 69 likes on that tweet from John Dietz.
Nice.
So I'm not going to like that one. I'm going to... John, I liked it, but I'm not going to mess with it. It's too perfect.
Leave it as is. Yeah, it was great to hear those two back together, and the chemistry they have, like you said, was awesome. And reliving some of the old broadcast moments. It was good. The broadcast added a little bit of entertainment to the game, which was entertaining in and of itself in different ways. But yeah, it was good, and it's still weird to know that Pat Foley's time as the play-by-play voice is coming to an end.
Sucks.
And it's weird that it's going to come to an end with so many games, I know it's quote unquote so many games.
Isn't Thursday the last game?
Yeah, Thursday will be the last one. But so a handful of games to end the season won't have fully on the broadcast, and it's just still feels weird.
Yeah.
I figured they would have let him, kind of go towards the end of the year, but yeah, it'll be the last two will be this week, so it's coming to an end.
It's tough, man. I've said this before, but Pat Foley's the reason I got into broadcasting. The guy was an idol of mine growing up, and got to meet him a number of times. Got to hang out with him one night in South Bend. My buddy Patrick Manley, who I used to work with at the Score, took the entire crew out to a Notre Dame football game.
Oh, fun.
So we went out there the Friday night before, and it stretched into Saturday morning. And Pat Foley was there, and it was just awesome. Like one of the many pinch me moments I've had in my career was just me hanging out, drinking beer, and talking hockey with Pat Foley.
That's never a bad time.
Unreal. It was just such a cool night, and I remember a lotot of it.
Yeah,
I really do. Not all of it, but a lot of the majority of it.
I remember being there and it happening. Right. Yeah.
Well, I was loose enough to not just Chris Farley. I'm like, remember when remember when Dale said weenie? That was awesome. I love that they started the broadcast with that tonight too.
You had to
with the weenie.
You got to play the hits.
I was like, they're gonna play it safe because it's a little. But just the fact that hearing that highlight after all those years, you could tell they had to cut their mics. They were laughing so hard in that moment, and that's the sort of chemistry, man, that you just can't create it. You can't grow that in a lab. That is natural. Those are two great friends doing a broadcast, and that's why when it started tonight, it just sounded so natural. It's like Dave and Matt doing Bulls Post.
Oh yeah,
two buddies. Today they shouted out in unison.
Yeah,
the same, and Will, of course. We just can't hear you as well, Will. You're too quiet. By the way, Matt and Dave will have your Bulls Post not as soon as we're done, but shortly after we're done. So stick around for that. And the playoffs beginning for the Bulls very soon. And that is all my basketball knowledge.
They officially will face the Bucks. I learned that before we got on the broadcast.
Giannis.
So yeah, Bucks
and
Bulls.
Kareem, right?
I believe so. Oscar
still
Robertson,
on there?
I think, is still playing there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got it.
But I think it's it was great to hear Dale and Pat back together. Definitely brought me back to, before I was even in high school. It was a good time. Yeah, it was a good time to hear
enough.
that.
Stop talking about how young you are. I'd appreciate that. But yeah, it's just awesome to hear those guys. They're so great. And just one more time, beautiful. And who knows? Maybe in the coming years there'll be special events where they bring him in.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Pat Foley. The plans for him are not, at the end of this season.
Yeah, you're done.
He will never be seen for or heard from again. No, it seems like it'll be, I'm sure he'll, if he'll do the convention, he'll do, some spot appearances, things like that. I'm for sure expect that to be the case.
Just no TikToks. We know that for sure.
Yeah, that won't be the thing. him and Luke Stuckmeyer are probably not too versed in the TikToks.
There you go. Hey, I just had to learn Discord to do my AMA during the intermission today, and thanks to everybody who joined us there. If you want to do that, make sure you join CHGO, become a member. But the best way to support CHGO is to download that PointsBet app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I told you about unlocking the membership earlier, but now PointsBet's new feature, you need to know about this as the playoffs begin. Live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live NBA same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game, and if you want more, you can boost your live same-game parlays. Watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet. And remember, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. So despite the 6-4 loss, there were some positives in this game. And of course, when Greg joins us from the UC, we'll get to our 4 stars of the night. But Kirby Dach with 2 points, including a really nice goal, sort of in garbage time, but nice to see him wheel with the puck, have an opportunity to shoot, and shoot it.
Yeah.
He did it. He shot the puck, and it went in.
It's amazing what happens when you put the puck towards the net.
Really?
Like, you can sometimes score a goal that way.
Yeah, I thought he I think recently his game is starting to come around a little bit. And a couple shows ago, we played the audio from Derek King talking about his, I don't know, like his change in how he's handling his career, right? I think
handling frustration
and and when things aren't going well, he's getting better at handling them in a better and more mature way. And I think that is starting to translate on the ice. And hopefully, I think we can kind of tease it. We're supposed to have Derek King here in studio on Wednesday. We're waiting for a time on that. As soon as we know, you will know. But the expectation is that Derek King will join us here live from our studios on Wednesday. So keep your eye out for that time. We're going to have some great questions for him. If you've got some during the show, you could throw them in the chat. You can send us an email if you want. I'm jay@allchgo.com. Or just send tweets, put them in the Discord, and we'll get some questions asked for you. So we're really looking forward to sitting down and drinking a few beers with Derek King.
Yeah, the fridge is stocked for whenever Derek King gets here. But yeah, I mean, it'll be really cool to be able to talk with him and kind of pick his brain in a setting that you don't really get the chance to do too often,
right?
And I think it'll be interesting to talk with him and kind of get his perspective as the season comes to a close. A season full of a lot of surprises this year with the Blackhawks and a lot of challenges, and there's going to be challenges ahead, and it'll be interesting to see if Derek King ends up being the guy to face those challenges as head coach moving forward. I think the decision, hitting the mic, the decision about, what the Blackhawks could or should do with head coach beyond this year is still kind of cloudy. I still think you and I are in agreement that Derek King, it does no harm to give him at least next year to kind of figure out if he's someone that'll be around for a couple more seasons. Give him an off season, give him his call on the coaching staff, and give him a training camp to get a team prepared. Have some more rapport with whatever veterans are going to be in the organization and on the team next season. Obviously, he has a rapport with most of the young players that have been here or are going to be here. So I think, it'll be interesting to see what happens. As far as we know, still, he's just the interim coach, but I can't see the harm in at least giving him next season to either figure out, what kind of development we can see in the young players, or if it doesn't work out, then you go with someone new.
Part of me is feeling like they're just waiting for a win to name him the official head coach, and it's just like
they haven't had a chance.
Okay. I got a comment in the comments that makes sense from Joseph. He says the Dach goal was great. Wish he'd do more of that. I think it's coming. I think we need to, and I'm guilty of this too. If you've listened to me on podcasts, I've been really hard on Kirby Dach, and I think we all need to kind of zoom out a little bit and put the frustration of the season away and just remember how young he is. Remember that he's had a lot of obstacles in the way of his development, from injuries to being on bad teams to COVID-shortened seasons to all these sort of things. And look, the fact that he was never given an opportunity to go to Rockford and develop, these are all things that may have stunted his development. It doesn't necessarily mean, though, that he's not going to develop. And the recent trend, I would say, has the arrow pointed up. So we'll see. I'm not ready to say, great pick at number 3. He might be Hockey Mitch Trubisky. He might be. Just a guy who was overdrafted, and there's too high of expectations on him because of that. But if I recall correctly, no one had him picked as a number 3 overall pick. He was 7, 8, 9, and that sort of a tier.
He was in that interchangeable group between picks like 3 and 9, where you could see it, but he definitely was not the consensus among the fans at that point. I think Dach's development is starting to turn the right corner. I think we've talked this into the ground, but yes, his development was stunted. Injuries were definitely part of it. Lack of confidence is something that can really derail a player's development, especially at his age. And I think, tonight's goal should hopefully be a confidence booster, because not only is it just, getting a goal, like it wasn't like it was, he was just sitting in front of the net and it bounced off his ass into the net. No, it was like that was the kind of move you want to see from Kirby Dach, where he can, get to the net and finish at a, pretty sharp angle. And that's something that, not every player has the skill to do. So seeing it come from Dach is great to see, both from a fan perspective and from, his building his confidence moving forward.
The other thing too is the Taves goal, where he was driving the net another inch on his stick, and that would have been his. Mm-hmm. But like you said, that's what you want to see. You want to see Kirby going to the net, to the crease, as long as he's playing center like he did in this game. Won 50% of his draws, by the way.
There you go.
1-1.
Hey, 50% is 50%.
50%. That's what you want to see. And I did like that goal. Mm-hmm. The fact that he used his skill, trusted his skill to shoot. It seems like such a easy thing to do, but when your confidence is struck and the whole team is reeling and nothing is going right, mm-hmm. it's easy to second guess everything you do. He kept it simple and it worked, and I hope that starts, the more he does that, the more positive the results should be, and I think that could be really the thing to catapult his career, because I really do think a lot of what's happening with Kirby and his struggles is mental. Mm-hmm. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself to live up to the pick. He knows, like we all do, that his success could very well dictate the next era of Blackhawks hockey. Yeah. If Kirby Dach is not at least an elite number 2 center, then this rebuild is stunted even more than we thought.
Yeah, it'll definitely put it, behind a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
I think, one of the things that Derek King had mentioned leading up to this game was that he wanted more players to be selfish more and take more shots, take more chances. And Kirby Dach is definitely one of those players that I believe he was, challenging to say, hey, like, we need more from you. And it was great to see it tonight. And I think, when a player's confidence is not as high as he would like it to be, when he's playing with Dach, when he's playing in a top 6 role and is oftentimes seeing himself play alongside Alex DeBrincat, Jonathan Toews, Patrick Kane, like, it's easy to start deferring and say, well, I'm not getting it going. Let me get it to someone who is. And tonight, he was on a line with Sam Lafferty and Lucas Reichel, so deferring isn't really an option for him.
Right.
You kind of have to, in his role, be the guy that is going to start driving play. So I think that was, a good lineup change to kind of shift his mentality a little bit. If that came into play, I think that's a good move by King and benefited for Dach. And two, I on the power play goal from Toews, where Dach was driving to the net, it ended up going off the defenseman. That forwards group was Toews, Kane, Dach, and Reichel. That's a move to say, okay, here are our 2 vets who are, the pillars of the team, and here are our 2 young guys who we hope can turn into the next pillars of the team. Put them out there, see what they can do, and put them with Eric Gustafsson, but see what those 4 forwards can do, and it ended up being positive. So I think these kinds of combinations we'll see in the next 10 games as we get to the end of the season here, and hopefully some of these young guys can get some positivity rubbed off on their games finishing the year. And with Reichel, I mean, if it's 2 games or if it's the rest of the regular season, we don't know, but it seems like every game he's played, he has not looked out of place,
right?
But he also hasn't really made the jump to where it's just like, oh yes, that's it. That's the kid.
I do think tonight was his best.
Mm-hmm.
He was the most noticeable and most effective here. And I do think that I was actually thinking about this during the game as we were watching, and your point is good about deferring to Toews or Kane. I wonder if guys on this team kind of do feel sometimes obligated to force the puck to those guys now and again. Not saying that either of them is demanding that, but when you've got a young guy and then 2 Hall of Famer, a young team, mm-hmm. and 2 Hall of Famers, of course a guy like Sam Lafferty is going to be like, well, I'm just going to get it to Toews and do what I can to get it to him so he can do what he does. it takes instincts away. It's what we're talking about. And I'm not trying to blame those guys for anything, but I do think it's just it is a mental thing that players probably think about during a game. And I think that's why I like tonight's lines, because you had Taves with Kane and Kurashev, and this is the best Kurashev has looked in a long time. Dach, Reichel, and Lafferty, as you mentioned. And you're right. I think Dach took that opportunity to, if there's someone on that line who's being deferred to, right now it's Kirby Dach. Right? Which is crazy, but it is what it is. And I think that he took that and shined, and I think Reichel, like I just said, had his best game so far as a pro. Lafferty was more noticeable than usual, so I sort of like what he's doing with the lines right now, with what he did tonight, and I'd like to give that another game or two to see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think one of the underrated things that we saw tonight was the play of the fourth line with Tkachuk, Johnson, and Entwistle. I mean, they were pretty aggressive. Boris Tkachuk got his first goal as a member of the Blackhawks, which was great to see. And Entwistle, who's been kind of bouncing around the lineup, he was able to have a pretty solid game. So the fourth line was clicking tonight, which was a positive thing to see. Those are three young players who likely have a spot with the team next season, and we'll see how they develop. But yeah, I think the lineups, the lineup change, I liked it. It seemed to work out. The only line that really didn't have much going and ended up getting shifted around was the old Erie Otters line with Strome, Radish, and DeBrincat. Which, I mean, these guys, Strome and DeBrincat obviously have played together with the Blackhawks for the last few seasons, but I mean, it's funny. We were talking about it before the game. You throw the old junior teammates together and hoping that they can
that old chemistry.
They can get that spark back. It's like, okay, well, they played together 7 years ago. I don't know how much spark is still left between the three of them. But yeah, I mean, I think the Kurashev looked good. And when you put Kane and Taves together, it makes that option to defer to one of them, takes it away from the three other lines. So yeah, and Taves too. He seemed a little bit more noticeable in this game.
For sure. Yep.
A little bit more. I don't know if it was just playing with Kane that just kind of gave him a little bit extra boost tonight, but if that's what you got to do to get a little bit more out of him the final 10 games, so be it.
Yeah, so be it. Greg is ready to join us from the United Center. Before we bring him in, we want to tell you about our buddy Kent Simpson of the Simpson Law Group. After over a decade of prosecuting homicide cases as an assistant Cook County State's attorney, he opened his own firm over 20 years ago. He specializes in all forms of personal injury cases, including injuries as a result of accidents, including cars, trucks, motorcycles, bicycles, boats, planes, and buses, construction accidents, nursing home abuse, medical negligence and birth injuries, slip and fall cases, and injuries as a result of hazardous drugs or products. Look, if someone's stupidity got you injured, Ken Simpson is your man. His firm's results speak for themselves, with millions recovered for their clients. Simpson Law Group charges you no fees unless they win for you, so call now for a free consultation, 312-332-2107, or visit simpsonlawgroup.com. Don't go off sides, go top shelf. Call now, 312-332-2107, or simpsonlawgroup.com. That's SINSON lawgroup.com. Let's bring in Greg Boysen right now from the press box at the United Center. Hello, Greg. How are you, my friend?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Nah, we got you now.
I got you.
All right, there we are. Technology is wonderful until it's not, but here we are.
We got you, Greg. Go ahead.
All right. Well, yeah, it's a lot of the same old stuff we've been seeing a little better effort overall, I think, but again, just too many defensive breakdowns, too many turnovers, and not enough goaltending when you needed it.
What was the messaging from King after this game? Because what we had heard in the last few games, few efforts, where it's the same old can't play 60 minutes, we need more effort, blah blah blah. What was the messaging from him after this one, where it seemed like they played a better game? It just the bounces weren't in their favor, even though they got some favorable bounces.
Yeah, he was a lot more positive tonight. He said he was fairly happy with the line combinations. Said that fourth line with Johnson and Entwistle and Kachuk played really well, was really happy with what he got out of them. Was praised Kurashev for taking advantage of his opportunity playing with Kane and Taves. And, he said that, the outer line was okay, but he said he'll probably stick with these lines, let them grow a little bit, let them get a couple more games together and see what happens. He said they competed well. They competed better than they had in the past few games, and that was evident on the ice. Just a few bad bounces, and he went out of his way to say that they could have used a couple more saves there from the goaltenders. So, he's aware of it. He was asked specifically about Kevin Lankinen and just said he had an off night. He says everybody on this team has had an off night these last 7 games, and tonight was his night. And, he says they still got to play better in front of him. And but it was a tough one for Lankinen.
Yeah, we spent the first segment of the show discussing the Hawks goalie situation, and the way it looks right now, you've got maybe one guy you're somewhat even interested in Soderblom, who is signed right now, Comesso down the road, but goaltending is something they're going to need to address soon because Kevin Lankinen's been given this opportunity to take this job and earn this job, and I think like all things being equal, the Hawks would love Kevin Lankinen to win this job because he's a super likable guy, good teammate, all those things, good with the fans, but he's just not a good goalie right now. And I know the purpose of a rebuild is to lose, but if your goaltender's letting you down night after night, that's a really bad environment to be in. You need a guy who can at least hold down the fort a little bit. And look, this was his worst game in a while, but make a big save now and again. I don't really put any of these on him in this game, but now and again you need your goalie to step up and make a big save when the team needs it, and he's not been able to do that for a while.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is currently the Blackhawks do not have an NHL starting goaltender on their roster right now. They don't. I mean, Lankinen and Delia can make good starts, but they're not NHL starters.
At
Rebound
this point,
control was terrible, to say the least. So it might be time to just move on from both of them. And I think when we see what's happened since the trade deadline, this losing streak, I think we have a better appreciation for how freaking good Marc-Andre Fleury was this year.
Yes.
And look at his numbers in Minnesota; they're insane.
Well, yeah. I mean, you finally put him on a team that has solid defense in front of him and can give him some goal support. Wow, amazing! Right? Who would have guessed? Like it's yeah. Anyways,
yeah, it's you're saying they're not starters. I don't know. I don't want to overreact to one game. I need to pump the brakes. But with Lankinen, I'm not sure if either of them are even backups. I think that they're replacement level backups.
Even though Lankinen played really good the last 2 outings, he still hasn't looked like a confident goaltender for more at all this season. Even in those 2 games, he was fighting the puck and not tracking it well. He seems like it sneaks up on him and he doesn't see it until the last second, and then he kicks it right back out to the center of the ice, and there's nobody there to help him out, and it gets swept right back.
What's amazing is so many of his great saves are the result of some of the giant rebounds he kicks out, or him losing track of the puck and having to make a miraculous save to where he should have just seen it in the first place. I like Kevin Lankinen. I don't want to bag on the guy, but as we're evaluating guys who are going to be here when the team's good again, I don't think they have a goalie right now that's signed that will be here at that time. I don't know. Like Soderblom hasn't set the world on fire in Rockford. He's been fine, but he hasn't been a star by any means.
He's been good.
He's been good, but not great, right?
I mean, he's first year in North America, and he's leading the team as they're making a playoff push. So it's pretty good. But yes, to the point of, is he an NHL goalie yet? No, I don't see it.
Right. Well, so Drew Comesso is the best hope.
Right now, Soderblom is what Lankinen was 2 years ago.
Yes, that's a very good point.
He's exactly what he's like. Wow, where did this kid come from Europe? And he's doing really good in the AHL. Maybe we got something here. Maybe we do, or maybe we got Swedish Kevin Lankinen.
Another Kevin Lankinen, yeah. So I did see that Patrick Kane talked to the media after the game, and was asked about the team being engaged this last stretch of the year. What did he have to say about that?
Not a whole lot. That was asked by Phil Thompson, who, as we've learned from the Tribune this year, is definitely not afraid to ask a question that might upset a player. That was the last question we got from Kane. I don't know if that was planned or not, but he basically just said, he was asked, is everybody on this team engaged right now? And he just flat out said, yes, for sure. And that was it. He didn't take the bait, and he wasn't going to
wasn't going to out his team for not being engaged.
He wasn't going to call out anybody or call out himself or anything like that. He just said, yep, they're all engaged. So
hey, you got to ask the question, though.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was asked, and he answered it rather quickly. He didn't appear to be in the greatest of moods tonight, but that could be expected. He's a very competitive guy and doesn't like losing, and that's all they've been doing lately. So pretty much what you expect.
7 in a row, 10 of their last 12 they have lost. So, yeah, I can imagine a guy like Patrick Kane, who does not like to lose, not in a good mood. And, I mean, if he does not like to lose all that much, it makes me wonder how much losing he will take in the next year or so. But, yeah, as far as questioning the team being engaged, they looked more into this game tonight than they had against Seattle and against Arizona, which, like you said at the beginning of the show, Jay, moral victory, I guess. Yeah. They're showing some GAF, but it's still not enough to put you over the top of a team like Dallas, who's fighting for their playoff lives.
Yeah, the effort was there. There's no doubt about that. I mean, the guys were skating hard. A guy like Sam Lafferty was noticeable all night. Boris Kachuk, who just this morning said, hey, it's not my job to score goals. And he had a big goal there that tied the game for a few seconds at least.
Just a little bit of time.
Yeah, one guy who I thought played well, and we'll get to our fourth star here in a minute and let you go, Greg, was Alex Vlasic. Obviously, the most he's played all season. He played 14:55, 3 shots on goal, 1 more missed shot, and delivered a hit. Also credited with a block shot. We saw him offensively taking a lot of chances. I liked what I saw from Vlasic in this game, and if he's going to be here, he might as well be playing. I mean, I like the fact that they gave him as much ice time as they did tonight. 14:55, like I said, 20 shifts. I thought he was solid, and we got a glimpse of, okay, this is why this guy's on the roster now. I thought he looked really solid in this game.
Yeah, he was engaged offensively, which is not what we've heard is his game. He's supposed to be that classic stay-at-home guy, but he said he had 3 shots, and he was pinching in at times and was very active in the offensive zone. By far his best NHL game, but that was a low bar to hop over. But he had some time with Seth Jones there in the third period, and this morning Derek King said he wants his team to be more selfish when it comes to shooting the puck. He says they pass too much. Anybody with eyeballs the last couple of weeks knows that, and we've complained about it. And he said he wanted everybody to be more selfish when it comes to taking shots, and he got that. They got 40 shots on goal. 17 of the 18 skaters had at least 1 shot on goal. The only guy that didn't get a shot on goal was Reese Johnson, but he was effective in other ways. I thought he had a pretty good game doing what he does. So, Derek King got what he wanted. He said they talked about shooting more. They definitely shot more. And, Vlasic took that message to heart. Riley Stillman was another guy. I think he had 4 shots on goal. So the defense was trying to activate the offense, and they had 4 goals on most nights. 4 goals is going to win you a hockey game, just not tonight.
In theory. All right, let's get to our fourth stars of the game. I will go first because usually you go left to right. I'm going to take Alex Vlasic, who we just talked about. Thought he had a really solid performance, given the biggest chance he's been given in his career, and he took and ran with it. So he's mine. Greg, who do you got?
I am going to go. Look at that! I love that. I'm going to go with Philip Kurashev, who went from healthy scratch to playing on a line with Jonathan Taves and Patrick Kane, and he took that opportunity and he did a good job. He had a goal tonight. Granted, he got a goal trying to pass the puck to Patrick Kane, but hey, you make a play. You went to try and make a play, and he got rewarded with a goal. He had a couple more shots on goal. He had a really good scoring chance late in the third period, couldn't convert, but he was noticeable. He had some power play time, got a lot of ice time tonight. I mean, when you're playing with Patrick Kane, you're going to be on the ice a lot. It was one of his most ice time he's had all season. I don't know if it was the most, but it was definitely in the top 3 or 4. So Kurashev got the opportunity, made the most of it, and it sounds like he's going to get at least another game up there with 19 and 88.
And I'm going to go with the aforementioned goal scorer, Boris Tkachuk. Got his first point and first goal as a member of the Blackhawks tonight. Had 2 shots, 2 hits, 10 minutes of ice time. Glad to see that he, literally got the monkey off his back after he
took it off and threw it
after he scored that goal. So, that was good to see for him. Again, he came over in the Brandon Hagel trade along with Taylor Radish, and he's cheap. He's got 2 more years on his contract after this year. It seems like he's kind of found a home on the fourth line in the bottom 6 rotation with the Blackhawks. So. I'm hoping he can use this as a little bit of a jumping off point and continue to improve down the stretch here. But yeah, Boris Tkachuk, I think this is the first time he's been nominated as a 4th star this year.
In my time here, that's for sure.
So but as much as I like that, Jay, to your point, I was very encouraged by the game that Alex Vlasic played tonight. The most ice time he got. Was definitely very gazelle-like out there, getting into the offensive zone. So I will go with Alex Vlasic on this one. I don't know where Greg stands on it though.
No, I think that's a good pick. That's who I wanted to pick, but then I was informed Jay already had him. So
there you go.
Got my pick in early.
The disadvantage of not being on the couches with you guys is I got screwed out of my pick, but that's okay. I will gladly give up Kurashev and go with Vlasic here. If this is what we're going to get going forward, if this is the game that kind of jump starts not only his confidence but Derek King's confidence in him, I'm all for it.
All right, so Alex Vlasic will be the CHGO 4th star tonight. He will have a shirt from our dope merch store sent to him.
Do those come in tall sizes? We're gonna need to get
it's gonna definitely need to be like a 2 or 3X to fit in.
There are 3Xs available for my fellow fat people.
There you go.
I
have no fear. You're accommodated. We got your back.
And what's interesting about Vlasic as we're talking about him here is that, as the season winds down, we'll see if and when he ends up going to Rockford. And news out of Rockford earlier today was that Ian Mitchell will be out for the next 1 to 2 weeks, basically shutting him down for the rest of the AHL regular season. We don't really know if that'll stretch beyond that 2-week period, but hopefully not. But it's interesting that this could be an opportunity to, after playing a few games with Chicago, to get Vlasic down to the AHL level and get him into the rotation in Ian Mitchell's position and get him some significant ice time with games that, with the Ice Hogs, games that matter, games that are going to be a little bit more ramped up in intensity as they're, pushing for the playoff spot. So that's something that, we can keep an eye on. But again, it kind of depends on what happens with the Blackhawks, their own injury situation with Connor Murphy, who has been back skating, but we don't know if he's going to be back in the next couple of games.
Yeah, there hasn't been much of an update on him, but he spoke. I think Ben Pope wrote it. He's back skating, feeling good, happy to be back with the team, but it remains to be seen. Any concussions every one of them is a different case, so when he's back, he's back. And look, I mean, at this point, it might make some sense just to shut him down for the year, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. Now there's a little bit of I wouldn't call it a crisis, but there's a situation in Rockford that needs addressing, and they have stressed the importance of this team doing well in the playoffs, so wouldn't shock me to see an adjustment made soon. Greg, we're going to let you go. No, it's been a long day, man. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
All right, sounds good, boys.
All right, buddy. Have a good one. A couple people in the chat, Ryan specifically, asking, are there any UFA goalies available that the Hawks could bring in to kind of bridge the gap to Comesso, which is my favorite Robert Redford movie, The Bridge to Comesso. Marc-Andre Fleury?
No.
Mikko Koskinen, 34 years old. Darcy Kemper, 32.
Is he going anywhere?
I don't know.
I can't imagine if Colorado does well and gets beyond the second round for once that they let Kemper go.
How about Eunice Carpasalo?
He's not going to come to Chicago.
Why do you say that?
Because he's gonna be coveted on the free agent market.
True. He's only 28.
Whether it's warranted or not, and I don't think he's going to come to a team that's going to be rebuilding with bad defense in front of him.
There's just not a lot to be super excited about on this list.
No.
It's either really old or really expensive, or like you said, if you're not either of those, it's someone who's going to have some demand and is going to want to sign elsewhere.
Well, and yeah, so if you're looking at the free agent market, you're looking at someone who's probably like hoping that they can still get another NHL contract, or looking at it and being like, oh, well, I could go battle for a starting position in Chicago because they're terrible and I'm not a real NHL center or a NHL starter. So there's an opportunity there. So, which again, the free agent market, I don't think is somewhere that the Blackhawks should be putting a lot of emphasis on for the goaltending position. Before the game today, I was in the office. I had some time to kill before the game started, so I opened it up on Twitter to some questions, and someone said, are the Blackhawks in on Dryden McKay, the recent Hobey Baker winner from Minnesota State? Probably not, but I don't know. But at this point, why not say, hey, you want to come to the NHL and have a shot at a starting job, Mr. Hobey Baker winner? Sure, come on in. Downers Grove's own. Hey, there's another storyline the Blackhawks like. In-state players, come on down. At this point, throw some goaltenders at the wall, see who sticks, and go from there. Again, bridging the gap to when Comesso is NHL ready, I think, is starting to become more of the outlook for goaltending. I don't think the thought of bring back Marc-Andre Fleury cheap is realistic.
And he's not going to want to do that.
No.
As much as he loved it here, he's not going to.
He's going to play in Minnesota, play with a good team, win some games, and be like, hey, I like playing with a good team and winning games. Why would I go back to Chicago?
Hey, you know what's better? Right? You know what's better than losing? Winning.
Exactly.
My column, Marc-Andre Fleury. Why don't you tell us about that good coffee you got in your cup there?
Yes.
I am excited. Mine is ready to arrive. My Strava coffee is on the way.
You are ready to...
I got my tracking info, and I am just sitting on my porch with my Yeti, just waiting for the mail person to deliver
Pour it right in there.
Just give me the grounds, and I'll go to the hose.
You are ready to start your day with a competitive edge. Well, if you are like Jay and want to also have that competitive edge, Strava CBD coffee is for you, and it is a game changer. It has helped thousands of people to improve their overall wellness and quality of life. Strava delivers delicious, fresh roasted specialty coffee infused with organic, broad-spectrum CBD. CBD from hemp doesn't make you high or hungry, but it does offer real benefits that can help you feel alert and focused without the jitters, live your day more balanced with less anxiety and fewer aches and pains. Plus, including CBD into your daily routine can even help you enjoy more restful sleep so you wake up feeling your best. The best part, Strava is all about quality. Everything is small batch, fresh, and shipped straight to your door. CHGO listeners can save 25% off their entire purchase when you use the code CHGO25. That's 25% off your entire order at StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use the promo code CHGO25 at checkout. Already love Strava Coffee? Subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. With Strava, you're in control. Save on your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule.
Cannot wait.
Yes,
honestly,
I am excited to get into the Strava CBD coffee myself.
I've got a few more minutes to go here. We're going to take some questions from the chat. Ryan brings up Peter Mrazek from the Leafs. I think Ryan is on the right track. That's what we're looking at. We're looking
because getting him will likely get you something back from the Leafs for it. We talked about it as the trade deadline was approaching, when the possibility of Marc-Andre Fleury going to Toronto was out there. The possibility of that happening and bringing back Peter Mrazek as a stopgap goaltender, as someone who the Leafs probably want to get rid of, so they would have more incentive to do so and be able to give you something along with Mrazek to say, hey, thanks for taking this contract off of our hands. That option is still out there, but I don't know if it's if there's as much, gusto behind it as there maybe was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so Mrazek, he is hurt right now. He has 2 more years left on his deal at $3.8 million. He's 30 years old. You're right. This is something you could say, look, you guys need him gone. Throw in a decent prospect. We'll take him off your hands.
Or whatever, yeah.
Or a draft pick, and it makes perfect. This is the kind of guy that maybe not him specifically, but this is the sort of thing to be looking for. Mm-hmm. A replacement level NHL starter to come in there and just fill the gap while you develop your goalie prospects or draft somebody or whatever. He's a fine option to hold down the fort and be good enough to keep you in games that you're playing well in. I think that's a really good fit, and it's about time the Hawks start parlaying, taking on some bad contracts and getting some prospects like Carolina did from them and like Columbus did from them and like so many other teams have done to the Hawks. It's time for the Hawks to get back and do that themselves and say, we'll take your crappy contract back, but you're taking something. They did a little bit with Tyler Johnson to get rid of the Brent Seabrook deal. You took bad for bad. But now it's time to really kind of take advantage of these teams that are cap strapped, trying to win and gain some advantage from it. This is a perfect time for it.
Yeah, and that's got to be part of their rebuilding blueprint is to start, accumulating more draft capital, more prospects into the system through moves like that. You look at a team like Arizona, who obviously their rebuild is not completed.
No.
But they were and still kind of are a destination for getting rid of bad contracts and taking in prospects and draft picks to do that.
Right.
And I think the Blackhawks would be better served to take a little bit of that strategy. Now, are they going to be completely gutted and bottomed out like the Coyotes? I hope not. That will be very hard to talk about for an 82-game season.
You're not going to be a season ticket member with that.
Yeah, but it'll be something that they can open the door to doing and starting to, because we've talked about it. The prospect system is not robust. It's Lucas Reichel and it's a bunch of pretty solid defensemen, but there's no stars. There's no up and coming star in the prospect system. So they got to build up from there, and rebuilding teams, they need to have young talent to point to and to build with.
We've got a super chat from Brandon Sikora.
Super chat.
I wonder if he's related to former Blackhawk Michael Sikora, acquired along with Ulf Dahlen for Blackhawks goaltender Eddie Belfour in the San Jose trade.
Maybe.
Do I remember mundane crap? Yes, I do. Dale did great. It was great. If you have it on DVR, go back and watch it. Usually NBC Sports will replay the game the next game. Worth watching just to hear Pat and Dale
it was
break
good.
down the game. I thought that I loved his breakdown of Seth Jones. It was some of the best analysis I've seen all year.
And if you have 5 of them, you got a chance.
That was great. Yeah. You have 5 more Seth Joneses, you can compete for something. Yeah. And ain't that the truth, man? But it was great. And he was critical where he needed to be. And one thing I enjoyed was Pat Foley taking every opportunity to credit Dale for the cup, for the cups. He said pointedly, this is the guy who built this team.
He did that for both the Blackhawks and Talon's work getting the Panthers to where they are now.
Yeah.
He gave him full credit, which he deserves. Stan Bowman guided the ship that Dale Talon built and handed to him.
Stan does deserve some credit. Like, I know people hate him, and his last 5 years were pretty disastrous, but he did navigate a lot of the cap stuff and got 2 more cups. Yes, with Talon's core, but a lot of those moves that he made to solidify the roster, he deserves credit for. And some of the picks he made, Saad and Teravainen and the goalies he was able to find, and he did a lot of good stuff too.
But the core pieces, the Seabrook, Keith,
Yes,
Kane, Taze, that's all Talon.
right.
So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good to hear that. And if you're looking for kind of that second wave of how the Blackhawks were built, I mean, you look at this Panthers team with the players that they have, and a lot of that credit goes to Talon as well. So yeah, it was good to hear the credit being given to him on the broadcast.
I like too. He also brought up that he really wanted Jason Robertson, and he was picked 39th overall when the Panthers picked 40th. So could you imagine now them also having? I don't know who they ended up taking at 40, but they could also have
this
Jason
is my
Robertson.
favorite game. Give me a second.
That would be. He is a great evaluator of talent. I got in a Twitter conversation with somebody saying, no offense to Kyle Davidson, but I'd rather have Dale starting the rebuild. And it's 71. I don't know if he wants to be back into hockey. I just don't. I don't know if he wants to do. I'm not saying, to be clear, is he capable of doing a job? I think so. I just don't know if at this point in his life and his career that he wants to go in to handle the day-to-day high demand of being an NHL GM. That's a lot of work. The guy's done it all. He's done a great job. I don't know if that's even something he wants to do, but I'd sure pick his brain. If he's looking to get back into hockey, why wouldn't Kyle Davidson say, hey, come and be my special advisor, come help us out? They could find something for Dale Talon to do. Hell yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with creating some sort of consultant role. And yeah, like you said, like picking his brain and seeing, because he obviously has the eye for it.
Yep.
And Kyle Davidson shouldn't turn down any kind of help at this point to kind of see, what best practices are, what people who have been here and have had success have done.
The Scotty Bowman role, right? Bring in the guy who's done it before, pick the brain now and again, and don't let him hire his son.
Exactly. So the 40th pick, the one that came after Jason Robertson, to the Florida Panthers was Aleksi Heponiemi, who is a forward from Finland, born January 9th, which is one day before my birthday, but in 1999. And he is with the Charlotte Checkers in the AHL, 36 points in 51 games. So not too bad.
Still a prospect.
But not Jason Robertson.
Not Jason Robertson by any means. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of CHGO Blackhawks. Reminder, we are always presented by PointsBet. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. We are off tomorrow. We're back Tuesday for postgame. We are expecting to have Derek King in studio with us Wednesday afternoon. Keep your eye on the time for that. It's still TBD, but we do expect to have Derek King with us, the 3 of us, on Wednesday. So make sure you are following the show on Twitter at CHGO_Blackhawks. Make sure you're following all of our social media accounts at CHGO Sports. Our TikTok is really great. Casey Standahart does a wonderful job. So make sure you're following us everywhere on social media. And we'll talk to you on Tuesday night. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.